but then proceeded went east on West Delmar. Unfortunately, we're here discussing the horrible tragedy and the loss of life of a 2-year-old child. Yesterday afternoon, the information was coming out pretty quickly about the child's age, that she was 3, but we later determined that she was actually 2. In this particular case, the vehicle, like I said, it did stop very briefly, and then it took off. There was quite a search that was going on. There was a lot of police vehicles. There was a lot of things that were going on trying to find that particular vehicle. An ISPRM broadcast was put out that contained the brief information that we had, a description of the truck, that it was a light in color pickup truck, and things of that nature. But it was limited in what we had at the time, but we got it out. But what was very important here was that as soon as we got a description of the vehicle, and then we got from a local business in the area, we got an actual photograph of a vehicle that we thought was the vehicle of interest. The sheriff's office immediately put that out on our Facebook page, and the public's help in this was just overwhelming. And I think the public and some businesses in the Alton, Godfrey area should be highly commended for the response that we got and their dedication to trying to find this person. It was just a great response that led us to the actual vehicle and the driver. It was reported to us that Ellie, the 2-year-old, was playing in her yard when the family pet started running toward the street, the West Delmar, and the offending vehicle struck the dog and then struck Ellie. Again, this is it's a tragedy because such a tragedy because the family has lost a 2-year-old child. They've also lost the family pet, and I believe that there's some other children that are in that family as well. The calls that we started getting, and again, I can't begin to thank the public and the businesses enough for the information. The calls were coming in one after another, and the phone system was working, and people were leaving messages, and then we finally got a call that says, "Hey, I think I'm behind the vehicle you're looking for." So the Alton Police Department was able to get that vehicle stopped, and we were there very quickly once they were in a position. The suspect was taken into custody. He's being identified as Paul, middle initial E as in Edward, Broadway. He's a 62-year-old male, resides in the Alton, Illinois area. He was charged today, and I'll get into a little bit more with the state's attorney's office on the actual charging and what happened with that. But Broadway has been charged with failure to report an accident involving personal injury or death, and his bond has been set at $100,000. He is in custody here at the Madison County Jail. In this particular case, it's sad anytime we have to stand up here and report on any kind of a death. It makes it even more tragic when it's a 2-year-old child or a child at all. As the sheriff of this county, I want to reiterate the assistance we got from the public, the assistance we got from the businesses, the Godfrey Fire Protection District, the folks that worked feverishly to try to save this little girl's life. It was incredible. We want to, as the sheriff, I want to thank the Illinois State Police Crime Scene Services, the Alton Police Department, and it kind of goes without saying that the staff, the emergency room staff at St. Anthony's, those people are wonderful, and they did they did a great job. I didn't make it to the hospital, but I understand that from the folks that I work with, they said it was just a horrible scene. The staff was just, they obviously they did everything they could to try to save her life, but it just couldn't be done. We had one of our chaplains from our chaplain service program responded to the hospital as well, to at least try to comfort the family and have some words with them. And they also provide a service to our deputies too. This is, it's a horrible tragedy all the way around, but our deputies, saw a horrific sight yesterday, but the men and women of the sheriff's office continuously do their job, and they do it very finely. With that being said, what I'd like to do is introduce Crystal Louie, the Madison County State's Attorney's Office First Assistant. She can talk about the charging documents and a few other legal questions. Also, Madison County Coroner Steve Nahn is here. If anybody has any questions of him, I know everybody looks a little different with masks on, but when you have a head the size of mine, people know who I am. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to Crystal, and then I will stick around. And if you have any questions for me, I'll be right over here behind this mask.
Thank you. I'm First Assistant State's Attorney Crystal Louie of the Madison County State's Attorney's Office. I want to start by conveying my sincere condolences for the family of Ellie Grace. The loss that they've suffered is undescribable, and my heart sincerely goes out to them. The Madison County State's Attorney's Office announces charges against Paul Broadway that were issued today after presentation of the evidence from the Madison County Sheriff's Office. Paul Broadway has been charged with 1 count of failure to report an accident involving personal injury or death. That is a Class 1 felony, punishable up to 15 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections. The charge reads that the defendant knowingly failed to stop the vehicle he was driving after that vehicle was involved in an accident at Pine Grove and West Del Mar in Godfrey, Madison County, Illinois, in which Ellie Grace Kaiser, with a date of birth of August 16th of 2018, was killed as a result of that accident. And thereafter, he failed to report the accident to the Madison County Sheriff's Office within a half hour after the accident. These charges reflect the cowardly and criminal behavior demonstrated by the defendant, by Mr. Broadway, after the accident occurred. And the Madison County State's Attorney's Office will make sure that he's held accountable for the life that he took and for the loss that is suffered by Ellie Grace's family. Again, I want to reiterate, thank you so much to the public for their help in solving this case. I want to commend the amazing work of the Madison County Sheriff's Office, led by Sheriff John Lakin. Also, the Illinois State Police Crime Scene, the Madison County Coroner's Office, led by Coroner Steve Nahn, as well as the Alton Police Department and the first responders from Godfrey. Thank you. This was truly a team effort in bringing these charges, and the State's Attorney's Office will seek a stiff penalty that is appropriate under these charges. Thank you.
Can you spell your name for us real quick?
Yes, sir. It's spelled U-H-E.
Thank you.
If there's any questions, I'll be happy to take questions. Yes, sir.
Were there any, I don't know if you can answer any of these, but.
You know I answered all your questions.
Yes, of course. And gladly. But did the truck leave any skid marks at the scene?
Well,
and also, where was the fellow? He was found, I know he lives at Alton, but was he found in his home?
No, a traffic stop was made on his vehicle. And as far as the, any type of skid marks or anything, there doesn't appear to be any, but we're not going to get too much into the investigation. Also, we had our accident reconstructionist come out and, excuse me, and so we're obviously waiting on that, but that could take some time.
Did he submit to sobriety tests?
There was, I believe he went, there was a search warrant obtained for his blood and of that nature. So it'll be, we'll have to wait on toxicology, and we know that.
Was he injured?
It didn't appear to be.
Do you think drugs or alcohol is involved?
You know, at this point, it would be just it would be speculation or presumptive, and I don't think, you know, we can do that. Right now, it does not appear to be that way, but a lot will come back whenever we do get the toxicology report. Yes, sir.
Did he
Do
realize?
you know why he left the scene? Did officers get any, explanation from him when they pulled him over?
Well, I think during the interview, I don't think he provided a very good explanation as to why, but that's a part of the evidence that his statement would be, you know, we're going to be careful with that.
So I take it he did make a statement of some sort.
He was interviewed for several hours.
Okay.
Did he realize that he hit someone?
Well, I don't want to get too much into what his statement was, but you know, there sometimes people think that they hit deer, and some people think that there are other things that may have been struck. But you know, he knew that he struck something because he pulled over and stopped, and then whenever I say he fled the scene, he didn't like 90 miles an hour take off or anything like that we're aware of. But you know, he certainly didn't use his cell phone to call 911 or report anything like that. So I think it makes it even more of a tragedy for the family. And again, you know, from the sheriff's office, you know, our hearts just are breaking for this family of what they're having to go through. And again, it's a tragedy. I mean, Crystal mentioned Ellie's date of birth, so you know, August the 16th. You know, it just wasn't too long ago. So the
August the 16th of 15?
18.
she just had a birthday in August the 16th.
But you just turned 2?
Just turned 2, correct? Yeah.
And maybe, Crystal, you can speak to this. Apparently, Broadway has been charged in the past in Jersey County for something similar to this.
We are aware that he has a prior felony conviction from Jersey County from 2006. However, the details of that charge or that conviction, we have not received that information yet. We have requested it, but we will absolutely get that and take that into account.
Okay.
Can you speak to the charge itself, the failure to report versus a different charge, something like involuntary manslaughter, something like that? Can you speak to how you arrived to that charge?
Failure to report an accident involving personal injury or death is a Class 1 felony, so it's actually a higher count. And because Mr. Broadway did not report within even an hour or 2 hours, this charge was appropriate under the facts.
Reckless homicide is a class what?
It is a Class 3.
Oh.
And what penalty would that carry? I'm just out of curiosity.
A Class 3 felony?
Yeah.
It would be 2 to 10 years for reckless homicide, and this is 4 to 15.
Yes, sir.
Sheriff, do you know the speed the truck was going at the time?
At this time, we don't. We're hoping that the accident reconstruction will give us a little bit more of an idea. And again, it's going to be a bit. I think we heard from witnesses at the scene that there was not any indication of excessive speed. So it's just a horrible situation. Anybody else have any questions?
I have something on a different topic. Should I do it separate or now? About the, can you explain the warning by the Sheriff's Department about the Health Department concerning the scam of the COVID test kits?
Sure. Yeah, there was we put some information out yesterday about scams that originated or have come to our area. I know our local triad group has put some information out as well. If you look at the flyer or the information that we put on our Facebook page, there's some things there that I think the scammers are now targeting senior citizens, calling them and asking something along the lines, or telling them that they're a contact tracer and that they've tested positive, and that you can send X amount of dollars to get this kid or whatever it may be. So again, we're very set on trying to protect the very vulnerable that we have in our society, and and that's children, the elderly, veterans, and the disabled. So we like to get that information out. And, you know, first of all, the health department is not going to call anybody and ask them for money or charge them for anything. So with that being said, again, you know, they intentionally target people who, for the most part, I think we all believe that we're all trustworthy and that senior citizens don't like to believe that there's much dishonesty in the world that we're dealing with today. But we like to get that information out and try to protect them as well. Okay, thank you all for being here. It's not nice to see you, but it's nice to see you under these circumstances. Hope you all be safe, you and your families.
Will you guys be sending out a mugshot?
Yes, Captain Usage will do that.